And welcome to a sort of new episode of The Simpsons Did It. I'm your host, Steven Skolansky.
And I'm your co-host, Robert Skolansky.
Sort of.
No, yeah, this is a new episode.
It's a new episode, but it includes a lot of clips from older episodes.
I mean, do we really need to do this episode?
I was half thinking about just cutting together a bunch of our old episodes and putting it into this one.
And then you realized you're lazy?
Exactly. That's a lot of work to go through a lot of old episodes and cut out, especially audio. Video, at least they're 22-minute episodes and you can find it. But man,
you still have to scrub through the video.
Yeah.
Do you know? I'm a video editor, not by trade, but I've done a lot of video editing. You know how even with stuff I've edited in the past, looking for a specific clip is a pain in the butt.
But at least it's only 22 minutes of content as opposed to, maybe like an hour of content.
Yeah, that is true. So this is season 4, episode 18. So it's come to this, a Simpsons Clip Show. And you know what? It's not, it is a clip show, but it's not a clip show because there is a story involved.
Yeah, but I think a lot of clip shows always have a story involved. Like, there's a reason why they're showing clips.
I know
there was a clip show for Third Rock from the Sun that I recently saw on IFC where they're all sitting on the roof and they're imagining, like, going over their like mission that they are on, and it was basically a clip show of basically them doing what the Simpsons did.
I'm trying to remember, like, I know that 70s show, they didn't necessarily have a clip show per se, but they did. Oh, maybe the last episode was kind of a clip show.
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit. I mean, they did some clip showy stuff. I'm trying to remember a really popular television show that's done a clip show, and nothing really comes to mind. Yeah. I know they've been done, but like Futurama never did a clip show. Family Guy never did a clip show. South Park has never done a clip show, which is incredible for South Park being on air for 23 years now. So yeah, like, I don't know. Like, now granted, How I Met Your Mother was kind of a clip show, just like for 8 seasons, because there was always callbacks.
Yeah.
But so yeah, I don't really remember a whole lot of clip shows.
No.
Also, the other fun part about this episode is it's also an April Fool's Day episode. It aired on April 1st, 1993. Now,
I almost wonder if that was planned or because, well, I guess they took a hiatus because the last episode was March 11th, and so they came back on April 1st.
I wonder if they did that on purpose. I wonder if they even knew, like, or if like they were in the writers and were like, hey, let's do an April Fool's Day episode that's also a clip show. Hey, the April 1st lands on a Sunday. Well, actually, no, this would have been a Thursday because we're still in season 4. And they're like, well, April 1st lands on a Thursday this year. Bingo, bango, bongo. Let's do it.
And then the clip show just came because they're like, you know what? Let's give the editors a little bit of a break.
Yeah, a little bit of a break having to comb through animation. So
get the interns to do it.
Yeah. So recap of this episode. Bart's prank hospitalizes Homer, whose life flashes by in past clips before he goes into a coma.
Oh, I do know my favorite clip show episode of any show. It's the Clerks animated series episode
Oh my
2.
God, yes. That's not even a clip show. They did one episode.
I know, it was but all the clips, like half that episode was just clips of the first episode. Because they all got locked in a freezer reminiscing about the first episode.
Yeah, that's right. Oh my God, I forgot about that. That's a great episode.
Great clip show episode.
Yeah. So, our chalkboard gag this week. No one is interested in my underpants.
No. I mean, I guess Bart was like, dude, I got some Buzz Lightyear underpants. Well, no, Toy Story wasn't out yet.
No. Mickey Mouse underpants?
Mickey Mouse underpants. And everyone was like, no.
No.
We don't like it. Stop dropping your drawers to show us your underpants, Bart.
Yeah. Now, the couch gag this week kind of makes sense because it is a clip show.
It's our first clip. It's our first clip. Callback.
We get the mismatched heads couch gag. So all the Simpsons run in, they don't have their normal heads, and then they switch their heads back to normal. And this first aired in Marge Gets a Job.
Yep. So Bart wakes up thinking he's blind. He's like, oh my God, I can't see. But he just has tape over his eyes. And Homer comes there, rips off the tape. April Fools. I mean, I don't know. I guess that could be a good prank.
Yeah, because you think you woke up. Well, you might, because, I don't know, if you wake up, you're so really out of it. And so, you open your eyes, but then it's still dark. I think it's a good prank. Now, have you ever pulled a prank on anybody that you thought was really good that you remember?
It's funny. I was thinking about it because I knew you were going to be talking about April Fools on this episode. And really, honestly, the only prank I could think of, and this was more at work, and I don't know if you could call it more of a prank as opposed to vandalism, but we took the saran wrap that we used at Best Buy to wrap TVs and wrapped someone's car in it.
I've done that as well, but we kind of took it a one step further. We got Vaseline, and we put Vaseline on the door handles, and we also stuck marshmallows to the car, and we had those window markers that you could write on, like you had them in high school.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And we just wrote stuff on our friend's car. The other fun prank that I was a part of, I don't know if it was really a prank, but you know how on senior day in high school, seniors always pull weird stuff?
Yep.
So at our high school, in the back of the school was where the students would park. And there was the side rail thing. So if somebody's car were to roll, it wouldn't roll down the hill. We all parked parallel to that. So we were all taking up 2-3 parking spots. And the resource officer came out and yelled at us to park normally, or else he was going to call the cops. So being high school kids, we listened. But that was the other prank I was part of.
Yeah. I mean, I wasn't a big April Fool's prank guy. I mean, obviously I wasn't involved in any of them, but I loved hearing about them. And this day and age, you get, I don't know, have you ever fallen for the emails, April Fool's stuff?
No,
you get an email from Redbox or Best Buy or Petco, or they always do that. A lot of businesses will do April Fool's emails. And there's only been one from Redbox that I think I almost fell for. It was some sort of movie promotion or something, and you kind of read through it and then you realize it's a prank. But I don't know.
I think the greatest prank that I was kind of a part of, but not really, was in college. A friend of mine convinced another friend of ours that he was from Canada. And it lasted for 3 months. Until we finally were no, he's lying. He's not. But he had her going for 3 or 4 months, and it was fantastic. It's one of those harmless things, but when she found out he was lying to her, it was hilarious.
Yep. So yeah, pranks can be fun. I mean, they don't have to be done on April Fools to do a good prank. You can call Moe's and give him a fake name. So go for it. So the next prank we get, Bart drinks a carton of milk that Homer kept by the furnace for 6 weeks.
Oh,
bad. Oh my God. My wife is the worst at emptying out my kids' milk cups.
Oh.
So it'll be left on a kitchen table. She'll take the cup from the kitchen table to our sink and leave it in there, and no one gets to it. And then I open it up and smell and the clumpiness. Oh. But even Marge was like, This is disgusting.
I'm very bad at drinking milk, so I'll buy now, granted, I don't buy a gallon because I know I'm bad at remembering that I have milk. So I only buy a half a gallon, and I'll drink a half of it, forget, and then 2 weeks later, it's just great, this has gone bad.
Yeah. But I do love it's Bart's dude, I'm gonna get you, Homer. And he's like, you couldn't fool your mother on the foolingest day of your life if you had an electrified fooling machine. I mean, but I love how he said your mother. I mean, I don't know if it's really hard to get things past Marge. I mean, I feel like she's pretty gullible.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then we get Lisa talking about the how the pagans celebrated the new year on April 1st.
I tried to do research on this because I wanted to see if they were being accurate, and they kind of were, but I couldn't really find anything that suggested that pagans had a ritual on April 1st.
Yeah, so... But yeah, during the sequence, though, in which, the Simpsons are depicted as pagans, Lisa pagan does not actually participate in the ritual. She's just sitting on a beanbag chair or something off to the side. Oh. So even in the pagan culture, Lisa does not like to participate in evil acts.
Well, they're not evil. I mean, they're just, this one.
They're not evil? What about the Christian Flanders pranks Homer with fake ram's blood, and it's a can of snakes in a can, and then Homer kills the Flanders and puts them up on pikes.
They tie him up in the fire.
Oh, they're gonna die.
They're gonna die.
It's like burning witches at the stake. They're gonna die, and then they're like, "Now who's laughing? Now who's laughing?"
Now, to be fair, so. Pagans weren't really because Christians oh, you devil worship that. No, pagans really just God, now I lost my train of thought. Well, I didn't lose my train of thought. I can't think of the word, but they celebrated. That's the word, celebration. They a lot of their holidays were celebrated around the solstices, which is why things like Christmas are in the winter solstice and Easter is during the spring solstice. Christians kind of hijack the solstices to convert the pagans to Christianity.
Yeah, those people, man, they're good salesmen.
Yep.
So now we get the Frying Dutchman, and the sea captain. For some reason, the sea captain's using his spyglass to spy on someone, and they do the whole paint around the rim thing. Yep. And my always favorite one when it came to the paint was when you put it around the rim of your coffee mug and then you took a drink and it looked like you were smiling.
What movie is that in? That's in a movie, a really famous movie.
Yeah, I can't remember it, but that's what whenever I think of the paint thing, that's what I always think about. And then because of the prank, the sea captain says they're now going to require hairnets. I'm like, shouldn't you be already be wearing hairnets?
Yeah.
But now, Bart watches Homer going into the fridge and to find his weakness because he's like, I gotta prank Homer, I gotta get him good. And then Homer grabs a beer. I love this. Oh, beer, my only weakness.
My Achilles heel, you might say.
Yeah. And, Homer drops the beer on the floor and then he cracks it open. He gets spritzed by it because, shaked can with carbonation. He's like, I'm glad this thing wasn't shaken up even more. I would have been quite the fool. An April fool, as it were. God, I love the setup. It's so great. And so now Bart gets the idea. So he goes to the Springfield hardware store where Bart uses a paint can shaker to shake the can of beer. And now, didn't the Mythbusters do this?
I think so. Now, here's the problem. So I did read somewhere that, I don't know if it was Mythbusters, but somebody tried to recreate this.
Yeah.
But they did it with a soda can, and that does not have as much carbonation as a beer can. Now, the thing is, this would never work because it's just not plausible. There's not enough carbonation where it's going to explode like that. You might get like a I know there's a show I called Good Mythical Morning with Rhett and Link, and they actually tested the theory of dropping or like trying to get the biggest spray out of a soda can after shaking it up. And the biggest spray they got was just dropping it from like a height of 4 feet.
Yeah.
So shaking it isn't actually going to get you more of an explosion out of the can. But again, they use soda and not alcohol because they're on YouTube and they don't want to get demonetized.
Yeah. So, I mean, it is kind of funny to, do that, but it's really the other funny thing, obviously, if it did shake up enough to have enough pressure in it where Homer, goes into the fridge and sees it all, shaken up, like Bart's putting in a thing and it's all shaking, there's always the proven trick where if you tap the bottom of the soda can.
Nope. Oh, that was the episode. They were trying to figure out ways to get it to not explode. The tapping does nothing. I forget which one they figured out worked the best, but I don't think tapping was the best.
No. There's actually, I'm looking at a physics website right now. It says if you tap the bottom of the can, the bubbles get
the bottom
knocked,
of the can.
Yes. So not the top, the bottom. So if you tap the bottom of the can, the bubbles get knocked loose from the side of the can and float to the top. So all of the little bubbles that form for the carbonation, will get pushed out.
Well, the best way to not get sprayed is to let the can sit.
Yes, you could do that, but yes, tapping the bottom of the can prevents the soda explosion. So, fun fact for you guys. If Homer was, noticing that the can was apparently shaken, what's funny? When I knew about this, I would actually tap the can, even if I knew it didn't get shaken up.
Oh, yeah, I do that. I think that's just a force of habit.
Yes, just because I'm like, you know what? I don't want to run the risk of this thing exploding on me. I'm tapping it no matter what.
I don't know. So Bart, puts the can back in the fridge, and now we get to Homer. He's in the living room, and he's eating pretzels, and he's watching TV, and we get another Bumblebee Man sketch, and he goes in the basement, and the washer like overflowed of water and soap. Because, that can happen. I've never seen that happen in real life.
Oh.
Have you ever seen that? Where, like, you overloaded?
Yes. Actually, I have. It was in college. In one of our dorm ones. Someone put too much soap, and I have seen... It's not as crazy as TV makes it seem.
Yeah.
But it does leak out. Like, the bubbles can definitely...
Okay.
And if you do put too much soap in, you could open up your thing at the end of the cycle... And the water and the spinning just didn't rush it out. So actually it could be leftover suds if you put too much soap in it.
But it's not going to do it until you open it.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. So, Homer, as I mentioned, is eating pretzels. He's like, so thirsty. What are you going to do?
It would have been better if he was like, these pretzels are making me thirsty.
No, it's these pretzels are making me thirsty.
Right.
Seinfeld. So, Bart is watching and he's like, God dang it. So he decides to raise the heat in the house with the thermostat.
Yep. So yeah, during the sequence, when he cranks up the temperature to make Homer thirsty enough to go to the refrigerator to get a Duff, of the things that melt is a Leo Sayer album from the late 1970s.
Nice. Also, I think a goldfish dies.
Yeah, the water starts bubbling. I didn't know they had a goldfish.
I think that was the point of the joke.
Well, where's the goldfish, Bart? Why did I have the bowl, Bart?
So then, as Homer's watching TV and it's getting super hot in the house. Also, I feel like nowadays there's smart thermostats.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm pretty sure... I don't know what time of year this is, but if this is like summer...
April?
Well, it's April for April.
I don't know what time of year this April 1st episode is.
So, again, we don't know where the Simpsons live. So, depending on the temperature, they might not even have their heat on. So, turning on the furnace wouldn't do it. Or, like, turning up the heat on the thermostat wouldn't do anything.
Well, it'd make if Bart's smart enough, I guess, he could figure it out. But then there's the TV announcer. The following is a public service announcement. Excessive alcohol consumption can cause liver damage and cancer to the rectum.
I don't know if that's
true.
Now, I do know it can cause liver damage. I don't know if there's any scientific basis around the fact that beer causes rectum cancer.
Yeah, that I guess I don't know.
And then beer. So Homer leaves, and as he leaves, there's a body print ass groove in the couch.
I don't know is this the first instance of the ass groove?
I believe it is.
All right.
I believe it is. So, and also, I mean, it's hot. He's sticky. He's overweight. Yeah, it's going to happen. So Homer opens up the fridge to grab the shaken beer. Now, here's my only problem with this episode. How long was that beer can sitting in the fridge?
I mean,
20 minutes, 30 minutes?
I would have to say maybe roughly, because you got to imagine Bart comes home, it's still shaken, and then he goes and does the thing with Homer, which could take, a little bit of time.
Yeah, I feel like even from him, even if he skateboarded to the hardware store, by the time he gets back to the house, I feel like that beer is going to sit back to how it's supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, once again, Simpsons and physics do not mix.
Yeah. So as Bart is yelling April Fools at Homer, the house explodes of beer.
April.
Ooh. Now, here's my other question. Bart is 5 feet away from Homer. How is he not hurt?
He wasn't at ground zero like Homer was.
Yeah. So then we get Lou and Chief Wiggum in their car, and they see the explosion.
Yep. Lou's like, that sounded like an explosion at the old Simpson place. Forget it. That's 2 blocks away. Looks like there's beer coming out of the chimney. I'm proceeding on foot. Calling a code 8. We need pretzels. Repeat. Pretzels.
Oh God. And so Wiggum is running
would driving have gotten him there faster?
Yes, it would have.
I mean, Lou could have still called in the code 8 while they were driving to the.
Yeah.
It was only 2 blocks away.
I know. So now we get to the hospital, and the Simpsons are sitting around, and Hibbert comes out, and he's like, "I'm sorry to tell you this, but your husband is dead."
Mrs. Simpson, I'm afraid your husband is dead.
And then he starts laughing and says, "Oh, April, dude, not." I feel like as a doctor, that's gonna get your ass sued. Or at least slapped.
Not on April Fools.
Oh my God, that's a terrible joke. That's terrible.
Yes.
That's terrible. Don't ever do that if you're a doctor. So
unless you're police chief Wiggum, who doesn't know DOA and
DWI.
DWI.
So now we cut to the inside of the hospital, and we get the vet from Santa's Little Helper, and who helped the surgery in that episode, who is now apparently a doctor.
I don't know how he got in there.
And so he's helping Hibbert, and he's like, Homer has serious problems. One of them being lesions to the head, and we see the X-ray, and now we get a series of flashbacks because he asks Marge how this happened. So the first flashback we get is from Life on the Fast Lane, where Bart and Homer are throwing a baseball around
because Homer's depressed that Marge is out with Jacques.
And Bart throws a baseball and knocks Homer out in the head. The second flashback we get is from Homer at the bat, where it's the bottom of the 9th. 2 are out. The bases are loaded. And Homer gets knocked out by another baseball. Well, it would be a softball, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Because, gets hit to win the game. Our third flashback is from Lisa's Pony, where he's in the garage. And he's
building the spice rack, right?
Yeah, it's building the spice rack. And the circular saw falls down and knocks him out. And then in the next clip from the same episode, because he's so tired because he's working 2 jobs, he has fallen asleep in between the 2 sliding doors, and they keep hitting him in the head as Princess Cashmere and Apu look on.
I think, of all the things that have riddled Homer's head, I feel like the circular saw would probably be one of those that would actually put a physical dent in his skull.
Yes, it would. I mean, I've been knocked out by getting hit in the head in the baseball. I don't think I had a dent in my head.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the x-ray, so there was a physical dent in his skull. I feel like the circular saw is going to be the biggest one right here.
Yep. And now our fourth flashback, we get Itchy and Scratchy and Marge. That's the episode where we get the full sequence of Maggie knocking Homer out with the mallet. We get the whole sequence.
The whole psycho sequence. I mean, I'm glad they decided to do that as opposed to just, Maggie hitting him with the hammer and cutting the clip. Dude, it was really cool seeing that whole clip again.
I would have loved to have been in the room where they discussed, okay, which clip is going to be full, what clips are we going to use? Because we only have like 75 of them.
Yeah.
So now we cut back and Marge is like, I can't think of anything.
Yeah.
And so he's like, and then they're like doing like brainwaves, and he's like, well, his brainwaves are erratic. And we cut to another flashback. This time from There's No Disgrace Like Home. And it's I think this is another full clip of when Homer and the family are doing the electroshock therapy from Dr. Marvin Monroe. Yeah. And they're just shocking each other, and the lights are going in and out, and it's a good clip. I mean, I don't know how shocking.
Well, I mean, your brain's an electrical.
Yeah, I suppose.
So, I mean, maybe. And so the doctor asks Marge if he knows anything. She lies. She had no idea. Unless it had to do with that time that he kept falling down the cliff. I'm like, yeah, Marge, that's a pretty good one. And so from Bart the Daredevil, we see Homer doing the classic jumping the gorge scene. And we also get new footage. So obviously we always see Homer fall down the cliff and hit the bottom. And then he gets up to the top, goes into the ambulance, hits the tree, and then falls back down. Now, in the original episode, we only heard his screams going down.
Yep.
In this episode, we actually see him with the gurney and him completely bandaged up, getting all bloody, falling down. I mean, that's pretty brutal. I mean, that's
and the gurney freaking nails him in the head at the end.
Yeah. I mean, that's a pretty good extra clip that we didn't get to see on the first go round. Yep. And so then I like how, what was it, Dr. Hibbert? Bart walks He walks in, he's like, haven't we seen you before? And we have. It was from Dog of Death when the vet gives up on the hamster and flips the hamster into the basketball hoop, into the trash can. Such a good clip. I like it. And then, Hibbert was like, you're a veterinarian? I mean, apparently Dr. Hibbert had to have hired this guy, or I guess I don't know.
How do you not do a background check? Like, to be a doctor or even a nurse, you need to go through intensive schooling. And being a vet, now, I know there are some similarities for, like, anatomy, but it's still a lot different from animals and humans. Yeah. So I don't think he would have been hired for this job.
Nope. But for an extra $20, he'll give Homer a tick bath and spay him.
Which is the not correct terminology, and he's a vet. He should know the difference. Spaying animals is for the female. He should have said neutered, because that's what you do to male animals when you take their testicles.
Yes. And Bart wants to give the guy a 20. I mean, maybe being de-ticked might be good. Spade, obviously not, but we all know Homer. As we learn in this next clip that we're going to talk about, Homer asks the family if he was worried, and Lisa says he knows he's tough. And so we get a call back to the call of the Simpsons when Homer and Bart are in the forest hunting for
food.
So I could see why Homer could need a tick bath. He was roaming around a forest.
Yep. And so we get the bunny sequence.
So Marge, says to Homer that he has good coping skills.
Oh, God.
Maybe. But then
I don't like this clip.
And so then we get the clip of
I hate this
Treehouse of Horror #1, where the Simpsons are beamed onto King and Kodo's flying saucer. Because
this is not canonical.
Canon. Yes, they really did get beamed onto Kodos and King's ship.
This is not real.
It is real. Kodos and King are real. Aliens are real. We all know it's real.
Nope, not real.
Now it's real. Now it's real because of this episode. So Bart mentions an Itchy and Scratchy cartoon that they'll never forget. And this is from Itchy and Scratchy and Marge, where it's the messenger of death, which, if you all remember, bombs for eyeballs. And, he looks in a mirror and realizes that they're bombs and couldn't take them out.
Yep.
But it's like, Bart, why'd you bring that up? Because it was an amusing episode of our lives.
Well, he's like, of our lives? I mean, it's a good episode. It's a good episode of Itchy and Scratchy.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. I mean, we do that all the time in our lives. Oh, yeah, you remember that one episode of that one show? And we did The Thing.
Oh, one of my...
The Thing.
Oh, we were talking about... So, one of my coworkers at work was literally just... I don't know what... Honestly, I don't know what we were talking about. I really don't know. And all of a sudden, he was like, Mountain Dew or crab juice? And I just started laughing so hard.
Baklava.
Yeah.
The New York episode.
Yes, that was the best. I don't know where that came from out of my coworker. And then my other coworker, Mike, was like, okay, you just won Steven over for the rest of your life. And I was like, that was the greatest pull I have ever heard. Like I said, I can't remember the conversation we were actually having. But when he said that, I'm like, okay, this is it. It's over. It's done.
I actually had the same experience on, I think it was Monday or Sunday, where my one coworker quoted The Simpsons and I high-fived him. I don't remember the quote now. Not even you bring it up, but he quoted something from The Simpsons. And I don't for the life remember me what he quoted, but I'm like, okay, that's awesome. You get a high five.
Yep. So Bart's not wrong. Bringing up favorite cartoon moments.
Yes.
It's perfect.
So now we cut to Homer is sleeping. Like, because he's not dead. He's not in a coma yet.
No, not yet.
And, because, he's awake, and Mo and Barney have come to visit him, which is nice of them. They're friends. And Mo's like, here, Homer, I brought you a can of Duff. And Homer's like, no, get that away from me. Because, he had that traumatic experience with a Duff can exploding in his face.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we've all been there.
I don't want it.
And so Barney's like, I can't stand to see him like this. And he tries to smother him with a pillow.
Yep. And we get a movie moment here. When Barney attempts to suffocate Homer and his subsequent escape from the hospital parodies the last scene in One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, yeah.
Great movie. Fantastic.
Yeah. Barney takes a bubbler out of its foundation. Like, I mean, those things are screwed in pretty tight, I feel like.
You've not seen One Flew Over a Cuckoo's Nest?
No.
Unbelievable. Go watch it. Jack Nicholson. Yeah. It's a great.
Yeah. And I love how he throws it out the window, but they're on the first floor.
Yep. Well, that's exactly what they do in the movie.
Okay.
You need to see that movie.
Do they say that the guy needs a girlfriend in the movie?
No. Barney's like, he really needs a girlfriend.
I mean, maybe. And so, Homer and Marge are, sitting around. He's a paralyzed, he's not paralyzed, as we'll find out, but he's in a wheelchair, and he's like, I'm afraid I'll just end up a vegetable and end up just lying on the couch, which he doesn't really
do that anyway.
A little bit. He's like, I'll be watching TV forever. And, Marge is like, well, our marriage has been through hard times before, but we've always pulled through. And so we get Life in the Fast Lane again, or Life on the Fast Lane again, where, we get the whole sequence where Marge visits Homer at the power plant. And the guy's like, well, what should we tell the boss? Tell Mr. Burns I'm going out to the backseat of the car with the woman I love, and I won't be back for 10 minutes.
Oh, yes. Such a great. Now, I mean, there are, in the first, 4 seasons, 3.5 seasons, we've seen a lot of hardships. It's kind of funny that, and I'm going to talk about this at the very end of the episode, but it's amazing that they went back to the well of the episode we already talked about where Bart throws the baseball in his head. So we've already repeated the same episode twice now. So
we did Itchy and Scratchy and Marge as well.
Yep. So twice. It's already the second episode we've doubled up on.
And so now, they're sitting around and the doctor's like, I've been trying to get him to stand up, but nothing seems to work. And so they walk out of the room and Homer sees the candy machine. And we get another flashback to probably my favorite flashback, I think, of this episode, where it's from the episode Burns Verkaufen der Kraftwerk, where the Germans try to take over the plant. Well, they buy the plant and then they sell it back. And it's the land of chocolate. The land of chocolate.
Yep.
And so we get the whole sequence there him, in the land of chocolate. And so he gets up out of his chair and walks to the vending machine.
Yeah, so he could walk. We just needed the right motivation. The doctor yelling at him was not the right motivation.
He just needed food.
That's right, especially candy. And so I like how he puts in the coin, presses the button, and the chocolate, it only moves so far. Like, we've all been there. Yep. And he starts shaking the machine, and it falls over on him. And the chocolate starts pouring out of it into his mouth. And the number of candy bars that fall directly into Homer's mouth as he lay pinned and injured underneath the candy machine is 10.
Interesting.
10 candy bars fall out of the machine.
So this is
now that's directly into his mouth. Remember how there was ones that fall around his face? The number that falls directly physically into his mouth are 10.
And this is how he gets into a coma, right?
Yeah, because he gets knocked out by the
vending machine, but not a beer can that's been shaken and explodes in his face.
No, not at all.
Yeah, and so Abe comes to visit him, and he's like, he thinks Homer is dying, or he thinks he's dead maybe because Homer like snores. And so Abe like grabs a chair to beat him up, and Marge stops him.
It's like, I don't want him in this pain anymore, and tries to.
So I guess, tries to hit him. It's just, I remember this episode differently. I guess like because I thought like, because I feel like I don't remember like all the middle. It's been a really long time since I've seen this episode, but I felt like after the can exploded, that's when he was in a coma, and everything else was just like flashback stuff.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of the same, but then we learned, Homer's in his coma, and Abe says he goes in and out of comas all the time. What's it like? You really live long lost summers, kiss girls from high school. It's like one of those TV shows where they show a bunch of clips from the old episodes. So maybe we're all in a coma here.
Yeah.
We're all in a coma when we watch this episode.
I love the fact that Bart is like, yeah, okay, moving on.
Yep. And wonders what Homer's thinking right now. And so now we get a flash clip of Lisa's pony again. And Homer's in the Slumberland sequence, which, I mean, I guess he's sleeping, going into dreaming state, so maybe. And then we get Burns rushing in, saying Homer is costing his health plan $5,000 a day. And he wants Homer to die, so die with dignity. No. So he pulls the plug.
But what is that plugged into? Now here's the other thing, too. When people say,
I want to pull the plug.
Like, there's so many machines you have to turn off to actually kill somebody, and then they're still alive. Like, they don't die right away.
Exactly. Yep. You could turn off their breathing apparatus, but there's still enough oxygen in them that there's enough time to... But that's why usually the alarm goes off. If you pull a plug in a hospital, an alarm's going to go off signifying, uh-oh. But it's okay. Dr. Hibbert was there, and he plugged it back in, saying he's still alive. And Bert's like, I demand a second opinion. And then Dr. Nick shows up. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Dr. Nick.
Apparently now that's a thing. Yeah. So Nick uses a reflex hammer on Homer's stomach, and Homer makes, a sound. It's like, ooh. It's like, I see no signs of life. The best course of action is to pull the plug. And so Bert's like, ooh, and pulls it again. And then Marge stops Burns and plugs it back in and asks Burns how he could be so cold-hearted. And Burns I love this. Burns tells Marge he has no idea what Homer has put him through. So apparently now he remembers.
Because he's costing Burns $5,000 a day.
But last episode, he didn't remember that he ran over Bart's kid or his wife painted him in the nude. I mean, this episode, he apparently remembers everything about Homer. And
maybe Burns has Alzheimer's, because I know Alzheimer's patients do remember stuff.
Yeah, and so now we get a clip of Dog of Death when Homer asks Mr. Burns for money to help Santa's little helper. And he's like, I know you're not a generous man. And then he holds up this thing. He's like, but my dog. Yeah, but even that, okay, how did that clip put Mr. Burns through any hardship?
Yeah.
I feel like the last Exit to Springfield would put him through more of a hardship than that.
Well, you can't go from like the previous episode to this episode just to show that clip again.
I don't know. Kevin Smith did it for Clerks.
Yeah, but Kevin Smith's a genius.
Yeah. And so Professor Frink has an idea for a fantastic voyage. 3 scientists, one of them a beautiful woman, will be shrunken down to a microscopic size, and they will meet Homer's lower colon.
Also known as the butt.
Why are they going to meet there? I don't know if that's how you get someone out of a coma. Go to their butt? I feel like you should go to their brain.
Yes.
And then Lisa wishes then we see, kind of our individual shots, and Lisa wishes she had gotten to know Homer a little bit better. And there were times when they really connected, and one of them, one fish, two fish, blowfish, bluefish, where Lisa plays When the Saints Go Over There. No, over there. On the saxophone.
The last like third of this episode is, Homer's not dead.
Well, he is in a coma.
He is in a coma, so you don't know if he's gonna. But it's The Simpsons. Granted, maybe I'm sure there's a few episodes left. Now, I would like to point out, we haven't touched on it yet. There's a highly popular theory that says after this episode, Homer never really woke up from the coma, and everything you see after this episode doesn't really exist. It's all in Homer's brain.
He went through all the past episodes in his brain, so maybe the new ones are.
Yeah, so but yes, When the Saints Go Marching In, great. I like it. It's the perfect clip for Lisa. Granted, I don't think there's really too many clips of Lisa and Homer.
Yeah, the only other one they could have done was Lisa's pony again when they leave the Quickie Mart on her shoulders.
Yeah, and they haven't gotten to the vegan episode yet. So, she's sitting there sad, and she wrote a song for Homer, and she plays it for him, and it's sad. And so now it's Bart's turn, and he apologizes. He's like, I know I always haven't been a perfect kid. And so we got cut to Bart's friend falls in love, and we get the whole sequence of Bart making off with Homer's penny jar, Indiana Jones style.
Yeah, best opening sequence. We talked about a couple weeks ago.
The Flintstones.
This is high on the top 5. Definitely top 5.
And so they cut back, and Bart's like, he's like, I know I got you mad. Yeah. And now we get a montage of just Homer saying "dough."
Yep. So do you want to know the number of different episodes? The number of times Homer says "dough" in succession from all the various episodes? 32.
Wow.
They got a lot.
They're like once. There's 1 second clip, so it was like 30 seconds.
Yep. 32 doughs.
Wow. Crazy. So, and then he's like, Bart tells Homer that Homer's always looked out for Bart.
Yep.
And we get 3 men in a comic book. And it's, the scene where they're all fighting over the comic book and Homer's watching TV.
They're fine.
They're fine. Like nothing bad happened. And so, he's like, no matter what, I'll never forget the advice you gave me. And we get from one fish, two fish, blowfish, bluefish, because it's another episode where Homer thinks he's dying.
Yep.
And this is where Homer teaches Bart how to shave.
This was a good one. This one, good. I like that. Well, I was like, and then aftershave.
That's really good. I can't wait for you to teach your kid how to shave if he can actually grow facial hair.
Yeah. And then you put little pieces of paper towel to keep the blood from flowing.
No, the blood will keep the paper towel there.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And so Bart, admits, it was all his fault. He was the one that shook up the beer can. He just wanted to prank Homer. And so now we see Homer's hand move. He starts to growl. We cut to the EKG meter, and it instead of the heart rhythm, it's Bart's head outline. And Homer's getting mad, and he wakes up and he strangles Bart. And instead of Marge and Lisa like gasping and like wanting Homer to stop, they're just happy to see Homer awake.
Yeah, but okay, so the biggest thing I've heard, and I don't know if this is, I think this is true. I think this is a true statement, that going to the hospital and talking to coma patients, you know, either singing songs, reading books, your voice helps them get out of a coma. Like they hear your voice because they're still conscious. They can still hear you, and that helps them move on to, you know, hopefully waking up.
I've heard similar. I don't know if there's any scientific basis, because obviously it's really hard to test that theory.
Yeah.
Because you'd have to put a lot of people into a coma.
You have to put a lot of people into it. So not using current coma patients. No. You have to put people into a coma to test this theory.
Yes. So, and so, you know, they ignore, you know, Homer choking Bart. And so now Marge, Bart, and Lisa and Maggie are in the waiting room waiting for Homer because, he's got to get dressed. And I'm sure they got to run a few more tests to make sure he can be discharged from the hospital. And so Homer's like, well, I know this has been an ordeal, so we're all going to go to Hawaii. And there's a clock on the wall that's 2 minutes from midnight. And like the Simpsons are like, woo, we're going to go to Hawaii. And Homer's like, April Fools. We still got 2 more minutes. And Bart's like, Homer, it's May 16th. And Lisa's like, yeah, you've been in a coma for 7 weeks. But then they all laugh. So I don't know if they're telling him the truth or not. I feel like they're not telling him the truth, or they are telling him the truth.
They are telling him the truth.
And Marge is like, Homer, you lost 5% of your brain. Me lose brain? Uh-oh. And they all laugh some more. And then he's like, why I laugh? So, you know, to be perfectly honest, I wasn't sure how I was going to rate this episode. I'm going to give it a 5. I'm going to say everything's coming at Milhouse because, you know, you get the jokes. I know it's a clip show, but they work it so well. It's done so well that it fits the story they're telling. And like, but you also get the sad moments of, you know, Bart and Lisa crying over their father in a coma. And it's just like the clips they chose are just so touching. And, you know, and you know, you get like some of the clips are just so good. You get the Springfield Gorge, you get the mallet one. It's just, it's a very well-rounded episode. And it's a good episode, and I would definitely seek this episode out. So I'm going to go with 5. Everything's coming up Milhouse.
I don't know. I mean, it's good, but it's definitely not my 5. I don't think for me it's 5 worthy. I'm going to go 4 sprinkles. I mean, it was fun watching it again. It definitely was. And it just, you know, flowed through. It was clips of old stuff. I do love the additional scene for the cliff. Yeah. Hilbert falling down the cliff. Yeah. I really do. But I mean, it's a clip show. It is what it is. I mean, I don't know if it necessarily
It's the greatest clip show in the universe.
It is, yeah. I mean, of all the clip shows I've ever seen, aside from the Clerks animated series one, this one was definitely up there. I mean, it definitely wasn't bad. So I love the Once Flew Over the Cuckoo Nest scene with Barney. I feel like I've seen that one other time, but maybe not. But yeah, it's good. The whole beginning of the episode, yeah, it's great. It's the April Fool's stuff. Once they got into the clip show, I'm like, whatever. They could have done something. They could have made it an episode, but they did make it an episode, but they could have made it into something instead of a clip show. They did,
a clip show.
Yeah. Maybe they were just getting lazy. They're like, you know what? Unless there was something of, you know, when we get to episode 77 of a show, doesn't everyone do a clip show? We need to do that too. But yeah, I'm going to go 4 sprinkles. And the last thing I like to point out before we get to our character profile, for those of you that are wondering, the number of different episodes in which clips were utilized, aside from all the does, was 14.
Oh, okay.
14 episodes.
Interesting.
So they pulled from, we're on episode 77. They pulled from, what, a fourth of them? Roughly a fourth of them?
No, no. 5.
Stop doing math. Yeah. Okay.
We'll say about roughly a fifth. No, about a fifth. About 20%.
Okay.
About 20%.
All right. So the character profile for this week is our pimpled face kid friend, who apparently has been kind of sprinkling around so far. Not really, he was in the paint can store, except he really did have acne. That was the funny part about that.
Yeah, he did have acne.
Yeah, Bart was like, oh, they're selling Stridex pads or giving away free Stridex pads outside. And he's like, oh my God, I'm in pimple-faced heaven. The dude didn't have, like, just like the other episodes we see him, he didn't really have any pimples on his face yet.
No.
So kind of weird, but places of employment for him are Krusty Burger.
Yep.
The Gulp and Blow.
Yep.
Lard Lad. IRS Burger, which we haven't gotten to that episode yet. No. The Springfield Public Access Station. And Burns' Casino.
Which we haven't gotten to.
Yet. So, yeah, he does get a lot of... He's a multi-job kid around town. And his appearance is acne encrusted, which...
Maybe he has just so much acne, it doesn't look like he has acne.
Yeah, but we haven't gotten to the core of this character yet. No. Right now, he's just been kind of floating around the city and different... We've heard his voice in people that haven't looked like him, so I think they were just kind of gearing up for the pimple-faced kid.
Yep.
He speaks haltingly with an annoying lilt. Sorry. Reasoning ability, uncertain.
Well,
Mr. Krabapolis. I don't know. He is very uncertain about a lot of things that go on. His strengths, none are evident. I'm interested in long distance savings. Very interested. All right. So let's close it out with where you can find us. Be sure to check us out on our social media, Facebook, The Simpsons Did It Podcast. Be sure to tag us in things at The Simpsons Did It Podcast. The Simpsons Did It Pod. You can find us on Instagram, The Simpsons Did It Pod, Twitter, Simpsons Did It PC. If you'd like to donate to our podcast, check us out at buymeacoffee.com/Simpsons Did It, and buy us a lot of Duffs. We like Duff.
Yes.
Duff beer is good. And all your donations will go towards merch. And right now we have stickers for everyone. But keep in mind, if you donate more than the $5 minimum, definitely do that if you feel you like to. And we're coming up with ideas to give you some additional stuff for the higher donations.
Yes.
So more to come. Lastly, check out our channel on YouTube where you can find all of our past podcasts in video form. So yes, be sure to like and subscribe, comment if you'd like, and we'll read those on the air here. And then last but not least, check out our phone number or give us a call. Leave us a voicemail at 612-584-0986. We want to hear all your fun pranks if it's April Fool's, stuff about other episodes, about the podcast, things you'd like us to do, tidbits, stuff like that. Just give us a call. Let us know what you think, and we'll see if we can get your voice on to our podcast. So until next time, I'm Steven Sklansky.
I'm your co-host, Robert Sklansky.
And this has been The Simpsons Did It.